It's looking like, I don't want to give the commentator curse here, but who might have a top 10 finish with 2 cars is Pescarolo Chassis. We know Pescarolo's not here this year. I've talked about this a lot because I have a huge amount of respect for Omri. I'm very sad he's not here this year. 40 years he's been coming to this race in some aspect or another, either as a driver or a competitor as an entrant. But I think it's wonderful and a bit of a tribute to him if 2 of the chassis can finish in the top 10, and they're LMP2 cars as well, finishing in the top 10, not a small feat.
And Oak Racing, a very French team as well, originally run by Serge Saunier, of course, Saunier Racing, who is now overseeing the Peugeot program, and he decided he would sell on the team, which then renamed itself as Oak Racing when he joined the Peugeot squad. Yes, so Pescarolo Chassis, and as I said, the change to Judd Motors has really made a big difference to them. They came here last year with a 2-car effort, looked sharp, worked sharp, and got let down by the machinery. This year they've come back with a better package overall. Ricardo de Villa, who's overseen the design and development of those cars over the years through their various twists and turns, I think will be feeling very happy at the end of it. That team have done a really good job, and again, a very French success. Pescarolo is synonymous with Le Mans, and certainly the Oak Racing team are really doing Henri proud, and of course he's here with our French colleagues chatting about the race as well as part of the French Eurosport commentary team. So here, certainly in person, are being represented, I think, very admirably in spirit as well in that LMP2 class. And again, both their cars likely now to finish in the top 10 with the unfortunate demise of Aston Martin 009. Well, Audi still have a 1-2-3 stranglehold on this race. But my goodness, if there's any more drama, can we please just make it a little drama somewhere? I'm not sure any of the 3 of us can really take much more heartache going on. Tom Christensen, well, he's been through the mill a number of times. He's seen the highs and the lows. What does he think?
Tom Christensen, you look quite relaxed. 40 minutes to go.
Yes, it has been an amazing race. Until now, 40 minutes to go. It's still some way, but of course was very tough pictures to see the last. You can say one's pain, the other's gain. That's Le Mans. Here it's all about tragedy, triumph, and this is sometimes. So for Hugh, I have I feel a lot with him for what happened 20 minutes ago.
You are running in P3 at the moment, but what is happening in the minds of the guys in the car number 9? You had it 8 times that you were in the last hour, and you thought about the victory. What is going through their minds now?
They will control it. They are incredibly. The 2 out in the back cannot control themselves, and Timo is doing a good job in the car. He will drive it perfectly to the finish and go through the mind. Is a concentration of very positive adrenaline, and they will hopefully deservedly win this year's yacht race.
Do you think it would ever be possible to have 1, 2, 3 for Audi this year?
I didn't think that would be possible, no, but I knew that we had a car we could race with that speed through the entire race. Of course, for us personally, I was involved in an incident which put us, at that time we were the leading Audi, but that's Le Mans. As I said, it can be good, it can be bad, but that certainly cost us the chance. But we had a feeling that Peugeot could not, or we understood that they could not deliver that power through the whole race. And of course, maybe they want to have an advantage and then maybe tune down the engines, I don't know. But for sure, when they came from the back, they needed to push too much, and I don't know. But for us, of course, it's more than we definitely expected in that sense. But I think it also shows that you can say, yeah, we are lucky, but you can also say, yes, we believed in our car to do a good result, and we concentrated on that. We didn't overreact in many ways. We concentrated on delivering a solid job, and then you can say on top of that, we are lucky or not, it doesn't matter. But I also said before, every Le Mans, that the car which wins Le Mans is the best car. The car which wins Le Mans is the best car.
Thank you very much, and enjoy the chocolate bar and coffee. I think it will be champagne later.
Thank you.
Oh, food and drink. Oh, there's a good idea. Well, that's a strange idea. Audi first, second and third. Well, I think Tom summed it up very well there. You know, you don't win by luck alone, but certainly you do need some luck. But I'm sure Peugeot believe in their car as well. Welcome back to Le Mans Live on Eurosport. 35 minutes of the great race to go. Let's get down to the pit lane, catch up with Ferrari's Jean Alesi. It's been a while since we've been able to say that, hasn't it?
Jean Alesi, your car is running in P4 at the moment in the GT2 category. A good start here for Giancarlo and you as a almost rookie. You were here once before.
Yes, not too bad. We were second before we lose a pad on the braking system. So Giancarlo was really lucky to bring back the car without having any kind of big damage. But we have to work on the car for 20 minutes, so makes all our chance away.
It took a long time for you to come back to Le Mans, but will we see you next year again? Did you get the taste now real?
The taste, yes, I have it now. For next year, I don't know, but definitely if Ferrari happy to do it, next year we're going to have a new car, why not?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's a valid point, actually, Jeremy Shaw, because the Ferrari F430 has been a really good GT2 racer for Maranello, but it's already been superseded as a road car, and we have been told, a number of drivers have said that the, was it 569, which is the next one that's coming along, or 465, or 5, I don't know, anyway, is already being developed as a racer, so we can expect to see Ferrari take another step forward in the way that the 430 was a big step up on the 360. So, again, stakes being raised in all these classes by the manufacturers.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it's not going to be as long again before we see Jean Alesi in real sports car racing. I remember seeing it at Mazda Race with Laguna Seca, actually, having Jill Campbell here driving that F40 for Jean Sage, of course, many years ago. That was a great thrill to see Jean there. He had an absolute blast driving that car, and yeah, you know, whatever Ferrari does in any kind of racing, it's the real deal. So it'll be an exciting program that we will hopefully be seeing the fruits of before too long.
Now, we heard from Nick Leventis earlier saying that the Straka team had to come in for one more short fuel. It's a 30-minute stint remaining, so I imagine that Danny Watts will stay in the car. Doesn't seem to be any reason particularly why he wouldn't. That car currently lying in 5th position. Don't forget, it is our LMP2 class leader and also leading our Michelin Green X Challenge category as well. Jean Charest second for Oak Racing in the Pescarolo Judd. Third, Lola with a HPD engine. Mike Newton will take the flag in the number 25 RML car. Fourth in LMP2 is Jacques Nicolet in the second Pescarolo Judd for Oak Racing. Great result for them. Fifth coming down pit road, the Ginetta of Gary Chalandon that we talked about a little earlier, that Team Brook Laddie car, and that looks like having a really good finish. Sixth in P2 is the Radical of Pierre Bruneau. The 56th entry is still going. They've had a really good run. And seventh, the Ginetta of Olivier Plat, the Kiefel ASM car. The Cellini brothers still running, and we do expect to see the Highcroft car out. Franck Montani there showing the disappointment when his engine cried enough early this morning, just into the daylight hours, and actually in all cases it was between the old signalling post and Indianapolis where the engines went. So something in the pit stop followed by long runs at high speed. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunately the equation that they weren't able to match. And it's interesting, you know, Tom Christensen saying no, we couldn't have expected with the way that things looked after practice to finish 1, 2, 3, but we believed in our car. We came here with as much as we knew how to produce. Well, you know that Peugeot had exactly that feeling, Jeremy. I don't think they came here thinking, well, it'll only do 9, but we're going to push it to 11. Sure, having to come from behind in the end didn't help, but they started off going in front, and it wasn't necessarily the coming from behindness of it, I think, that caused those failures. It's just, you've got to have Audi's experience to really be able to you know, plan quite as well, and Peugeot are building that. I mean, they won last year, and now the heartbreak of almost seeing a victory snatched away from each one of their cars that could easily have won.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, every one of those 4 cars, any one of those 4 cars could quite conceivably have won this motor race, and at one time or another they were all in position to do so. So it's got to be it just makes it even more heartbreaking when everything slips away at this final juncture with just, you know, inside the final few hours. It was about 7:15 this morning when Frank Montagni's engine let go. It was whenever it was last night, that it was even yesterday evening, wasn't it, that the number 3 car fell by the wayside, the pole sitting car, with that suspension pulling out of the tub. That was a really surprising one. Well, no, that was utterly surprising on its own, but then to have 3 Peugeot turbo diesel engine failures within what, 3 or 4 hours of each other. Nobody expected that one.
Well, what we're seeing now is a lot of drivers just looking after their cars a bit, just making sure they bring it home. This is such a stressful time. We are now just within the last half an hour of this 24-hour race, and it is a really tough time to be the driver, to be the team. You're just sitting there begging the checkered flag to come every single lap. You're getting that much closer, because it's not over until you actually cross the line, especially at Le Mans, as we all know, and it's a really tough time here.
Well, this is always a really tough part of the race as well. For people who've been asleep during the night and sort of maybe tuning in after breakfast and you know, watching during the course of the day, it's always really hard to try and build it up to the finish, because actually at the end, basically, the last hour and a half is tears and prayers. There's almost nothing else. Now look at this, synchronized fueling. Have they all really been on the same stop, or did they just decide to get them in all as one? Every single man in overalls is on the pit road for Audi. I don't see there'll be tyres, but there will be a pit stop, and all the guys are, there are tyres ready for the 9 car.
I think they're not taking any risks right now. The last thing Audi needs to do is get a puncture right now, Lord, yes, and absolutely have a problem. So no risks at all. There's no gaps here that they need to worry about. Nobody is going to take over their lead.
And look at the order in which they're coming into the pit lane. Well, 9, 8 and 7, that's exactly their order leading out towards the pit exit, so that lessens the chance of anybody running into each other as well.
Absolute safety is what they're looking at right now.
Well, amazingly, yes, that's the way their garages line up, with 9 at the far end, but that's the way they are in race order as well, so you know, they don't even have to shuffle around.
But the other thing we're probably going to see is they'll still do a good pit stop, but they're going to take their time a little bit. I don't think they're going to go nuts if they are putting tyres on something. Oh, they're not. We saw them setting up tyres. They must have given them a check and thought they're going to be okay.
The Michelin engineers will have looked at each of their respective cars. Each car has an engineer, and they'll have all gone, no, thumbs up all round. But of course, you generally don't see the one that gets you. Nonetheless, Audi have completed what seems to be their final stop. Audi lie 1, 2, 3 here at Le Mans with 27.5 minutes to go. Car number 9 with Timo Bernhard at the wheel heads the trio of R15 pluses down through the S's de la Chapelle, and he's a lap ahead of Benoit Treluyer, who's there in the second car in second place, number 8, and 3 laps ahead of Dindo Capello with the yellow highlights there on the car, the third of the trio of Audi R15s in third position. And quite remarkable that while we've been watching the dramas from everybody else, they have been gradually slowing up, speeding down, concertinaing together so they can run the last half hour nose to tail. And it's not as if, you know, one's third, one's 9th and one's 27th and they're just ganging up. They are where they are, first, second and third. And now, yes, the lap times will drop right down. Look at the in-lap. 3:43.6, 3:43.9, 3:43.0. So
some 20 seconds a lap slower than they've been able to do, but absolutely no one needs to be. But even on their in-laps, we've been seeing incredible times for most of them. So nobody needs to be a hero at this stage in the race. They know that there's nothing to gain, or well, there's all to lose, but nothing to gain really by going any quicker. So they're just going to be looking after the cars, probably not really running over the curbs much anymore. We're going to see that as well. Do not get a puncture, look after it, bring it home. Those are going to be the team orders, and bring it home together, boys.
On the grey stuff in the middle, in between the white lines, just like you would normally drive down a public highway.
Exactly, just a little bit quicker maybe.
And if you have to wait for an intersection, now then, 007 is going.
That does have a puncture.
That does have a puncture. Now, we've seen an awful lot of punctures. That's one of the few right rear tyres we've seen go down. Lots of left rears here. And
I hope he just keeps it really nice and quiet on this puncture, so that no extra damage is taken.
He knows he could give away a finish here. Stefan Mucker, bad enough to have a tyre go down. You don't want to make it any worse. If you have to creep round at speed, limiter speed, you will do exactly that. He's just taken it over from Adrian Fernandez just recently. That car lying in 6th position, 5th in P1, and Andy Merrick in 4th, of course, in the Orica AIM. Nominally a Judd engine, or nominally an AIM, but originally a Judd engine with different architecture in the heads. That car lying in 4th is the best of the petrol cars.
And I think we will see them put tyres all round on that car when it comes in, just to make sure that everything is going to be perfect to get that through the finish. This is the last remaining Lola Aston Martin on the track. We saw that huge tragedy with the Sam Hancock car earlier with the engine going. That was running in 4th place. This car still has a chance to finish in 6th, which would be a very strong finish after the gearbox problems they had.
Absolutely.
So they're going to be looking after that car absolutely to the last minute.
Well, let's talk about some of the other classes as 007 comes down pit road. Looks like he's done a good job with that, and lots of heartbreak in the Peugeot garages. The GT2 class started out as an absolutely epic battle. We had Corvette versus Ferrari versus Porsche versus BMW versus Aston Martin, but in the end, even the best of the Corvettes got tangled up in a traffic accident, didn't it, this morning, and that has gone. Corvette's hopes of winning GT2 on their first appearance in the class, as they've won GT1 over the years a number of times, have gone, and GT2 now being led by Porsche. Mark Lieb in the Felbermeyer Proton car is the leader. He shares that with Richard Leeds and Wolf Hensler, which is among the stronger driver lineups anywhere. Second place though, Jeremy, and this is a really big story for them, and particularly when I tell you the name of the team. Lee Keane in the number 89 Ferrari, sharing with Dominic Farnbacher and Alan Simonson. Good driver lineup, but it's the Hankook element that is the big difference. Hankook tyres sponsoring that team, sponsoring that program, and they have gone from learning to competing, and now they're going to end up on the podium here at Le Mans, which is a fantastic testament to the work and development that the tyre company has put into that program.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. It's a 3-year-old car, of course. It raced in the American Le Mans Series a couple of years ago. They had a very strong run here 1 year ago, and like the Falcon Tyres team in North America over the last couple of years, they've sort of, put a toe in the water, and then they're going after a full-on program. And this year, boy, that car has been strong. We've talked about it already. It finished second in the Spa 24 Hours behind the BMW, and to come here again and come away with another second place finish. Second isn't first, but it's a heck of a good result for just a one-car program. You don't get an awful lot of development data when you're only running one car.
That's a hell of a deal. 238,000 plus spectators here, most of them getting in the way this morning when I was trying to get back in after having a snooze.
And the other half getting in the way when we tried to leave last night.
It's 5 kilometres to the house, and it takes an hour and a quarter to get in on race day. It's really quite... all right, we shouldn't complain. And listen, third in the GT2 class as well. We talked about this car a couple of times. BMS Scuderia Italia's Porsche. You can hardly say BMS Scuderia Italia without adding the word Ferrari on the end, but now we have to say Porsche. Small team, Marco Holzer, Richard Westbrook, Timo Scheider, talented driver lineup, but Richard Westbrook was saying, the cars just can't get out of its own way at the beginning of the race. I'd be interested to speak to him afterwards and see whether it did loosen up and start to produce a power. He said he had no torque at all. They were winding off the wing, and yet, much against his expectations, he's going to be standing on the podium likely as not at the end of this race.
Yeah, but he did say, didn't he, when we spoke to him last night, the handling of the car was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a brand new team. They've never run a Porsche before, first time out, and there they are running with a perfectly handling car. That says a lot in of itself. And as you say, 3 very talented drivers in there. None of them have raced here at Le Mans before, amazingly, despite the fact they're enormously accomplished drivers, all 3 of them. And they've had just three punctures, I think it is, in that car. It might be 4 actually, because there's another one not too long ago.
Right.
So it might be 4 punctures, and again, we talked about it before, a lot of punctures have been during this event, but aside from that car has run absolutely beautifully.
And again, punctures, generally speaking, it would seem this year aren't necessarily something the team can do too much about. Even if you stay off the curbs and never hook a wheel over the edge, somebody else can easily bring gravel and debris on, and debris is the tyre's worst enemy, isn't it?
Well, we're seeing Mark Lieb now in the number 77 car. He's going to bring that Porsche home in the lead, hopefully. I'm not sure when the last time Porsche won the GT2 class. I think it was at least 3 years ago,
I would think you might well be right.
And I think it's a pretty special thing for him to be right there.
I'm sure that Uwe Schonak's phone will be full of messages of condolence over the next few weeks, but also congratulations, because his own team, his Orica AIM program, is going to end up as the best petrol car behind the trio of Audis. Of course, the same raft of sponsors that's on their Peugeot that have been supporting Hugh through all his programs for years. When he was running the Celine as well, were with him. So, I mean, that's a great result for the team based here in the Techno Park at Le Mans.
And just harking back to what you talked about there, the last time the Porsche won the class here at Le Mans, you'll have to ask Richard Leeds that, because he was part of the team.
All right,
in 2007, it was the IMSA Performance Matmut team that won that race. It was Raymond Rack, Patrick Long, and Richard Leeds. So, in the intervening 2 years, it's been all Risi Competizione. But the Porsche, they have a massive history here, of course, and they are going to be thrilled to come away with another class victory.
And into the pits comes the leading GT1 car. The last time we will ever see a GT1 car take the checkered flag here at Le Mans. So this is a special moment for the fans. I hope everybody has a look. And it is really the granddaddy of the GT1 class that is looking solid to take the lead, or to take the win, rather. They're quite a few laps ahead of the next car, which is another grandfather. It's an old, 6-year-old, in fact, Corvette of Jerome Polican driving that. And then we have last remaining GT1 and also in third place is going to be the Aston Martin DBR9. So we have lost quite a few GT1 cars. It's only 3 remaining, so really, as long as all 3 finish, they are secured a podium, and they've been that way for a while.
It won't be too embarrassing a podium.
No, you know what? I would take any podium spot at Le Mans quite happily.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, Liz, you've already said it. As a driver, as a team, just being running when the checkered flag falls is a monumental achievement. Let's not underplay that in any way, shape, or form.
No, finishing the Le Mans 24 Hours in 2006 was definitely the biggest moment of my life, and it was a struggle, and we had a hard time. I think we had 46 pit stops or something ridiculous, but we managed to finish 4th in class, and it is an enormous feeling to stand on the pit wall and say, we've done it, and watch your car come over the line. It's making me emotional thinking about it.
What are the 2 words you're thinking about, Jeremy? I'm thinking Paul and Drayson right now.
Yeah,
I'm hearing that.
And I'm feeling for them right now. And Lord Paul Drayson is in that car as we speak.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was the whole goal coming in here, start and finish the race. And he's unfortunately not going to be classified as a finisher, which again I think is just really sad. But he is going to reach the finish of this race, it would appear, with 18 minutes to go. They've been running, reasonably well now for the last hour or so at least, having had all sorts of difficulties. The handling of the car they never really did get right, but they battled their way. And for Paul, it'll be we've seen the emotions at every end of the spectrum, haven't we, within the last hour or so. I know we're going to see it from that Drayson Racing bunch down there. And also, you just talked about the Celine guys. I mean, boy, the Labour competition team, they had that entry turned down, didn't they, a year ago? They weren't even here part of the race because the ACA didn't think they were suitable for whatever reason. Well, they've come back this time around, and they're going to come away with a win, unless anything really weird happens.
Well, interestingly, we remember, I think we chatted about earlier about that new ECU regulation that's been in that GT1 World class, where every car had to run off the same ECU, and every GT1 car that came to Le Mans this year had a petition done to try not to have to run that ECU unit, except for the Celine. They were the only ones, for some reason, no one seems to know why, that were absolutely fine with that ECU program. They've had no trouble this year with it, and they were the only ones that said, no, we'd like to keep it, please. And I do wonder if maybe that has helped destroy some of the other GT1 cars, but at least we've still got enough running to fill a podium, so I do hope it happens that way, because it would be very sad to have it half empty.
Yeah, it really would be, actually. And for Laurent Berville, Julien Canal and Gabriele Gardel, I mean, 3 experienced but enthusiastic amateur drivers, you'd have to say. What an achievement to stand on the podium at Le Mans, never mind on the top step.
And Julien Canal, he's from Le Mans as well, so even more significance for him.
Well, just 27 years old. well, Ron Berville, 44. Gabriele Gardel, former multiple FIA GT race winner, predominantly in 550 Ferraris in his earlier career, I guess 5 or 6 years ago, but the Swiss driver with a Celine, very different kind of car, and of course one that he will have raced against. Now here, looking at Paul Drayson. Paul Drayson has all the hallmarks of a 5-year-old who's somebody given 2 cans of Red Bull to, hasn't he? The adrenaline, somebody needs to have an anti-adrenaline shot that they can give to Paul, because he's like a helium balloon bouncing up off the ceiling every time he gets in the car. I think he's suddenly discovered here, I mean, he's had the bingo moment where suddenly he's discovered what the car can really do. That's what it was all designed for. And you know what? You know, great to come here, race through a couple of trials and tribulations and get a finish. I don't think any one of the team would have expected to have had to have done a ground-up restoration project on the car. You know, 3 or 4 times through the entire team they've had to replace a fuel line inside the fuel tank, which is buried inside the monocoque of the car. They had found a broken suspension. They had all sorts of problems with the suspension front and rear, shock absorbers going. I mean, almost everything on the car, possibly apart from the steering wheel coming off in your hands, has gone wrong. And yet, despite its reluctance to ever appear from the garage, they keep pushing it out and making it go around the track. And in the end, they're going to win.
Well, this is going to be a big testament to that team as well. And actually, I've got to give a big thumbs up to some of those guys, because quite a few of them were on my 2006 car that had so many pit stops that they had to hold together to help that finish a race as well. And a lot of those guys are working on that specific number 11 Lola Judd. So they've been here before and they know how to pull it through the ropes and keep it going to the end.
Well, we talked about alligator wrestling. You know, if you blink, it gets you. Well, this is the same with Le Mans, and they are just beating this car with sticks until it refuses to misbehave and gets back out on the track. And you know,
Paul will be smiling all the way through it all.
That's as great a story in its way as Audi's story is going to be as well.
And the same goes for the Sonoris Spiker squadron as well. They've had all sorts of problems as well. And I'm just trying to do some math here. I reckon they are just going to squeak in the 70%, probably on the lap, I reckon.
Really?
Yeah, the race finishes right
fantastic.
now. So as long as you don't get lapped too many times in the next couple of minutes or so, I think they can get to be a classified finisher. And again, we've seen the car off the road. They've had various mechanical problems, but they've completed, what, 275 laps.
They might just be lucky because Audi has tailored back their time so much. They may just make it, like you say. I don't think they'll get lapped too much, so I will make a lot of hopes for them that they do, because it's horrible to fight so hard and not be classified.
Yeah, lots of stuff crossed for them, because they come every year, work really hard on what is obviously a tiny budget compared even to their rivals. You know, Porsche not exactly short on background when they're building their cars, and of course they sell so many customer cars as well. That helps fund the development program. And you got them, you know, you're up against the might of BMW and Corvette and a tiny Spiker concern, very proudly Dutch, and they really pushed themselves to the limit to try and make this race. BMW, incidentally, will get 1 car to the finish. Augusto Fabs is currently at the wheel of the white number 78 car, which is 256 position in GT2. And again, with all the programs they're running this year, from a ground-up start in December, where they were given a clean sheet of paper and a big thumbs up, the Schnitzer team have done a fantastic job. Lost the art car yesterday, unfortunately, but the number 78 car looks like it is going to finish the end of the race in the, well, packed GT2 team lineup. However, that has now been scythed through enormously by the marker of doom. There's only 7-8 cars in the end still running in that big GT2 class. So for all their pace and ostensible reliability, just like everybody else, Le Mans has cut a swathe through them this year. And sometimes you see that, you know, with the really shocking weather, you get spates of crashes and so on. You know, we haven't had a drop of rain since morning warm-up, or since before morning warm-up. Hasn't been a damp patch on the track apart from a couple of fluid leaks. And yet, it's back down to race pace being so relentless that if you survive, you've done a great job. And to us ever, together thus.
And who would have thought we'd see 10 LMP2 cars running at the finish of this race? I think if you could have got pretty good odds on that at the beginning of the weekend.
Well, I'm wondering if that's some kind of record as well.
I think it must be. And the top finishing one is looking strong to finish in 5th place overall. I'm not sure if that's ever happened, has it?
Well, only in short races where the lighter, LMP2 seems to have had good runs. But yeah, I mean, in American Le Mans Series racing, we had overall wins from P2 Porsches, but only on tight street tracks. I mean, that was the tighter tracks. That was very much a different kettle of fish. Out of Corvette corner comes our GT2 class leader, Mark Lieb. He shares with Richard Leeton Volpensler the faster of the pair of Felbermayr Proton Porsches, but the sister car is right there as well. That's the 88, and not sure if it's Horst Felbermayr Senior or Junior at the wheel. They share that car with Miro Konopka. Well, is there any team owner or team boss we haven't seen in tears now? Wolfgang Ulrich really can't believe it. I think that probably sums up a little bit the spirit at Audi at the moment. We didn't expect to win this race. We expected to race hard and give it everything we've got. But he there as well with a tear in his eye, because this is turning into quite a remarkable race. The turnaround from the start and from the early moments of disappointment with Christensen's car being caught up in that confusion with Andy Prio's BMW and going off the track. What a turnaround for Audi. If you'd said to Tom Christensen, don't worry mate, you'll be on the podium, he would have just looked at you with incredulity. Mark Cole, it's been a remarkable story, this race, all the way round.
It has, absolutely. I've been doing the maths while you guys have been winding up, but you just raised about the highest ever placed LMP2. If the checker flag goes out now, this is going to be it in 5th place. Highest previous was RML in 2006. They finished 8th, and
right,
Essex Porsche, they finished 10th in 2008. So this is a very, very good performance by Straka. Remember, British team, British car, British crew, US engine. Okay, British Cypriot crew, one of the US engine. We've also just passed the lap record, the all-time lap record on this circuit, 394 laps. Jaguar in 1988, and that was with the full Mulsanne straight. Right. So we've just gone past that. We will have done in a moment. Just to go through the maths again, P1 Audi, this will be their 9th win. Yep. If you include Bentley, which was run by Yost with Audi underneath that green Bentley body, then that would be their 10th. P2, the Honda's first. Not the first time Honda's been to Le Mans. They ran NSX GT1 cars, 94, 95, 96, but never with any success. Mazda's won this race, Nissan's been here, Toyota's been here, but this will be a first for Honda, this success. GT1, Celine have never won before. Nope. And they will never win again.
Indeed, yes, I mean, what a window of opportunity. Yeah. They got their hand in just before it closed.
And finally, Jeremy's spot on about Porsche. The last Porsche GT2 win was that IMSA Performance MacBook car in 2007.
Just to highlight that the Highcroft Acura HPD has left pit road. Marino Franchitti, who had a bit of a snooze in there for an hour or so, a few minutes or so, a couple of hours ago, has gone back out. They knew they had an overheating problem and could not turn many laps at a time. With 8 minutes to go, they'll probably get a couple in under their belts, and that will see them to line. And they should have done just enough to be classified as a finisher as well. But really tough break for them. But Liz, like everybody else, you've got to come and learn and polish your art. You don't expect to win your first ever motor race anywhere. Sometimes you can. You don't expect to.
Well, I have to say, certainly team owner Duncan Dayton has experience at Le Mans. He drove with me at Le Mans in 2006, and he's a very good peddler himself, very quick in a historic car and in a prototype. So he certainly knows what this game is all about. But it is the first time the car has been here. It's the first time the engine has been here, and it was always going to be, a bit of a toss-up, I suppose. Everyone thought they would be the favorite. I thought they would be the favorite, actually. The drivers certainly knew how to do the job, but sometimes it's just Le Mans luck, and some of the HPDs have made it and theirs hasn't, and like we say, that's Le Mans.
Well, the guys in that Audi pit know all about winning and losing, and as Peugeot do now. Interestingly, actually, there was a film made about Peugeot's Le Mans program last year that started in January, The head of the engineers phoned all his colleagues up and got them round to his house for a pizza evening one night and a bit of a film. And they watched Audi's film 24 minutes of the win in 2008. And the camera shots afterwards really quite telling. They all sat down in his lounge, they all watched the film, and at the end of it, when it finished, it was total silence. And then they interviewed the engineer afterwards, and they were saying, do you know what? They really look like they enjoyed that. We're going to have to try and see what that feels like. But it was really interesting for them to have come so close. They nearly won, and then to see Audi win it, and to see that from the other side, how it looked, how it felt, the emotion, and how everybody was, that gave those engineers then, in the build-up to the 2009 race, a sense of what it would be like. And they managed to hold on to that. And this year they knew what it was like, but something in the engineering let them down. It's quite interesting, I thought earlier on, Tom Christensen saying, we believed they couldn't keep that pace up. Now, not because their drivers couldn't keep that pace up, or the tyres wouldn't last, or traffic wouldn't allow. I sort of had the sense that they thought that Peugeot were overextending the engine in some way, because that's the only real difference between last year and this. And maybe their engine guys had just figured that it wouldn't be possible to produce that speed from that basic rule package for long enough, but they came damn close.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Liz. Just to say that you don't forget Audi started off on the back foot as well. They wanted to race at Sebring. New car wasn't ready. They wanted a derogation to use last year's R15, but ALMS was absolutely adamant, no, you've got to run to the new regs. And so they weren't able to do that race. Okay, they went testing instead, but as the old adage goes, there is no testing like racing.
Well, I think we saw Audi pushing hard through this race. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But we never saw them panic. And we never saw them, you know, they knew the Peugeot was coming. Yeah, only maybe just the once. But they knew Peugeot was coming, but we never saw them really overextending it and throwing the car off the line and overdoing it. So that just says to me, maybe they did genuinely believe in their heart of hearts that they could win this because they were making Peugeot push so hard. Maybe they thought they're not going to last.
Well, there are two options, aren't there? Either when you see the pace of your rivals, you pack everything into the truck and go home and start thinking, or you race what you've got, and that's their option. And of course, because they're Audi and because they're quality driver lineup, they were racing flat out every corner of every lap, because that's all you can do. All you can do is go with what you've got. And if it was enough, it was enough. If it got a podium, it got a podium. None of them surely would have expected that they might have ended up winning the race, and without a question, there's not a single person in that garage that thought, yep, we're on for a clean sweep of the podium. I don't care how quick they are, we've got what it takes.
Definitely
They knew what they had.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the drivers were saying after practice, everything that the designers have said the car should be able to do, we're able to get to those benchmarks. We're setting the times they said we could. We're getting everything out of it. If that's not enough, okay, that's not enough.
That's exactly the point I'm making, is they did what they knew they could do, and they never went nuts. They never went beyond the barrier of what they knew they could do. They always pushed very, very hard, but they never took ridiculous risks they didn't need to take.
Well, I think you can say the same about Peugeot, Mark, that they weren't, you know, rally crossing the car over every chicane or anything else. They knew they had a very quick car, and they really pushed hard. Now, the problem for them really was they got beset by a few little problems, and then when you're having to play catch-up, that's when it started to go wrong. But not all the engines that went were in cars that were busy playing catch-up or necessarily trying to chase from behind. So, I don't know, I'm still not convinced. I think the Peugeot will find that there's a fairly fundamental flaw in that car that racing has highlighted that testing wouldn't. And again, we get back to that thing. Think about the start of the race. If you sent your 4 Peugeots out at Paul Ricard in race simulation number 5, and they started trying to have each other off at every corner like they were at the beginning of this race, then they'd be called into the pits and told to stop being so bloody stupid because we're not going to get any data if all the cars are wrecked. But that's what happens in racing. You push way beyond what you're doing in a test, and in the end, that's where the frailty, human, mechanical, everywhere else, organisational, you know, are going to catch you out if they do. The other thing, of course, if a car breaks down in a test, it breaks down in a test, you fix it and carry on, and you've learned something. If it breaks down in Le Mans, you push it away and you come back in 12 months' time.
Just going back to Le Mans, I think we might be on the last lap of this 24-hour race. I've seen the marshals coming out, the teams are coming out to the pit wall, the flags are waving, especially the flags of Audi, and what a completely amazing result. 1, 2, 3 for Audi. It's sure to be. The cars are lined up in their order. This is an incredible moment for the whole of the Audi team, isn't it?
Astonishing. Of all their wins, maybe this is going to be the most remarkable, because it's the one that was least signposted at the beginning of the weekend, the least expected, the most surprising of all. And you're right, they are on the Mulsanne straight for the very final time here at Le Mans, and the team now, of course, you know, all know what winning feels like, but from this start to this end, that's a very different path than they've ever gone down before, Mark.
Yeah, and this is going to be hugely satisfying for this man, Timo Bernhardt. He's Tom Christensen we talk about as the all-time Le Mans winner. There's 8 wins, but Timo Bernhardt, he has already won the triple. He's been very close to the Triple Crown, which is Daytona, Sebring and Le Mans. Well, he's going to pull it off today. Not only that, he is also a 2 times Petit Le Mans winner, a 4 times Nürburgring 24 Hours winner. Now he's going to add Le Mans to that. Thank you, Jeremy Shaw, for those figures. And what a driver, what an all-round endurance driver he has become today.
And of course, he's won in almost every category there is to win in, you know. So as a Porsche driver in the GT classes and in LMP2, and now in the overall victory as well. So he gets the chance to bring the car to the line, and really for Audi, quite remarkable. Mike Rockenfeller, last year, of course, crashed the car 2 years ago, crashed the car very heavily, thank you, Liz, and you know, must have been feeling an awful lot of weight on his shoulders after that, with Timo Bernhardt and Romain Dumas, again, who end up with exactly the opposite feeling that they had, or that Mike had at Le Mans 2 years ago, from depression in the depths of his boots to the sort of elation that it's hard to imagine. Just saw Andre Lotter on the team, on the pit wall, his teammate Marcel Fassler, and Benoit Chalouier at the wheel will come in 2nd place, and Tom Christensen, Dindo Capello, who's at the wheel, and Alain McNish will end up in 3rd spot. And Wolfgang Ulrich, well, he's
flying the flag for Audi himself on the wall, looking tentatively over the side, waiting till they actually cross that line.
Wiping the tears away, and rightly so, because actually, do you know what? You know, this race again this year has taught everyone in the paddock that there is nothing taken for granted. I wouldn't mind betting it's going to rain quite soon as well, having stayed dry. But for Audi, what a remarkable, well, never mind for Audi, what a remarkable race. What a remarkable race, full stop. Maybe not one of the all-time great races to the checkered flag, or, you know, as close a finish as 1969 or any of that, but in terms of twists and turns, I think the script writers are digging even deeper into the Machiavellian draw as the years go by. Le Mans has always got so much to offer, but whoever would have put money on this Audi 1, 2, 3 in 2010, and more than that, no Peugeots finishing? Well, that would be the only way you could possibly have imagined it happening, but that's exactly the way it has gone. It's heartbreak for the French team, but it is delight for Audi. They are going to sweep the podium here at Le Mans.
Finish.
Absolutely incredible. And Wolfgang Ulrich himself was in tears 20 minutes ago, and I'm sure that everybody congratulates Audi, and everybody crossing the line there. A lot of our GT2 front runners are there. Lee Keen in his Ferrari, Richard Westbrook 3rd in his Porsche, Mark Lee winning in GT2, and congratulations to Danny Watts bringing the Stracker car to the line as our P2 winner, and our GT1 win will go to the Celine Gabriele Gardel at the wheel of that car. There's Alain McNish, knows what winning and
we won them all.
losing feels like.
Finally.
The winner of Le Mans 2010.
Thank you. It's unbelievable.
Trying to get the word with Rocky. He can barely hear. Romain Dumas is going to get down into the track and run to greet his teammates. There's their tyre engineer, Justine, you're on a sticky wicket there, I'm afraid. Trying to make any sense of the mayhem there for a few minutes is going to be tough. And Uta Shonak, well, do you know what? Just a little lifting of the spirits for him, particularly. Sure, his Peugeot dreams have gone, but his Orica run AIM is going to be the best of the petrol engine cars. So for him, there is definitely a silver lining to this morning's cloud.
He can say he's beaten Aston Martin. That's probably as good a reward as anything, isn't it?
Yeah, and Aston Martin in 6th position, 5th in the P1 class. Stefan Mucker bringing the 007 car to the line that he shares with Harold Prima and Adrian Fernandez. But into Parc Fermé come not 1, not 2, but 3 Audis. Do you know, I think next year I must think of the most unlikely scenario anyone can imagine and get a couple of £100 on it, because that's the way this race works.
So much emotion we've had through this Le Mans. I'm not sure if I even remember, other than driving it myself, having so much emotion in a race like this. It's just been incredible. I don't think we could have picked it out if we tried.
And getting to the flag at some stage, we hope we will see Paul Drayson in the number 11 car. Hasn't made it around yet, as you see your race winner Timo Bernhardt. Paul Drayson's car will complete 254 laps of the 397 lap race distance. And just remarkable scenes from Parc Fermé. Quite incredible elation for Audi. Goodness me, what emotion, what joy, what surprise perhaps for Timo Bernhardt. There's the Kiefel ASM car in the LMP2 class. BMW finishing with one of their 2 cars as well. We've just seen our GT1 winner come through with a Celine door open, waving at the team and the crowd. Here's Wolfgang Ulrich.
And I think fair play and the congratulations of Peugeot meant a lot to you today.
Yeah, this was really something very special, because that's really sports. And I'm really proud that they came over to me, because they had a really tough weekend. They have been very strong competitors, and it was really tough how they had to lose at the end. But in this situation, it shows a really sportsman.
In your wildest dreams, did you ever think you could sweep the podium here?
I mean, you dream of many things, but to dream of a triple before that strong competitors, it would not have been realistic.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Well, there are years when Audi have dreamed of sweeping the podium, when they've been fastest in qualifying, they've had the best car, they've had the best team. This was definitely not one of those years. Wildest dreams, I think, bizarrest fantasies wouldn't even come close to what's happened this year. Still waiting for Paul Drayson to cross the line. We have seen the Acura of a Highcroft team finish, so Marino Franchitti brings that car to the line. It did chug around for the final lap. Still waiting for Paul Drayson's Lola Judd. Come on, and the Spiker has yet to make it to the line. So has the Ginetta of Karim OJ, and so too has Mike Newton's 3rd in LMP2 RML. So we're waiting for that to take the checkered flag as well, because of course if you don't finish, you don't finish. Doesn't matter how many laps you had done.
Yeah, Danny Watts, by the way, has just taken the line. Not only has he taken the win in P2, but he's also won the Michelin Green Cross Challenge. That's a big award here. It's what was the old index of efficiency. It's the most number of miles covered on the least amount of fuel.
Okay, our final 4 finishers have all crossed the line. Ensemble, the Brook-Laddie Radical, the RML Lola, the Drayson Lola Judd, and finally the Spiker, the last car to take the checkered flag, not necessarily last in the classification, but you're seeing there again the pictures of Audi taking a remarkable win, and now everybody who possibly can will be swarming into the pit lane. And Liz, for every driver, the dream is to stand on that podium and look down at the sea of flags and faces and cheers and noise and just take in that emotion, and it will well over them. I've been in this room when Nishi won with Porsche, sitting there with the teams are ready to go out onto the podium, and you can almost slice the emotion and put it in a jar. It's so overwhelming.
Well, it's certainly my biggest dream, and I think it is every other driver's dream. Certainly every driver that's ever been to Le Mans or ever dreams of Le Mans dreams of standing on that podium. And I can barely find words whenever it finishes, and I just start thinking about what it would be like.
I think we need to have the finish at the beginning when we're fresh.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're tired and we just can't find any more words.
55 starters, 28 finishers. We don't yet know about the Drayson Lola, whether it will be classified or not. We have to wait and hear about that when the results come out. But that's 50% of the field, of the original field, 56 cars. That's all that's finished. That is a very high attrition rate this year.
And so much heartbreak. After 11 hours, or after 12 hours, only 11 cars had retired. But as soon as the light arrived, they all shrank away and failed to finish. There's Danny Watts.
That yellow helmet, of course, colours of Oxford United. He's their #1 fan. He was at Wembley 2 weeks ago, cheering them on to their victory. And here he is now. He is now the victor himself at Le Mans.
Big Man United fan as well, I gather. So he and Nick were offered a match just the other week. Well, you know, from Mark Lieben, from him and all the other guys, Dindo you saw there, Benoit Trelouillet and Timo Bernhardt. Goodness me. Race win at Le Mans. No wonder he needs a good swig. I think he's had a dry mouth for about the last 2 or 3 hours, if not longer.
Now, Liz, we were talking, weren't we, during qualifying? We said that things are swinging in favour of the younger guns now, and it's happened. It's the not only the younger guns of Audi have won, but it's the team that's been drafted in from Porsche.
Yeah, but let's not discount the ones who had a bit of a whoopsie accident early on that wasn't their fault at all, and they possibly could have been the ones winning this. So I think all three teams have done the best race they possibly could. I don't think anyone's better than the other.
Probably the most famous man in France, Jean-Claude Killy. We just saw there talking to Tom Christensen. Killy actually gave the green flag at the start of the race. I understand he also gave the check at the end, along with Daniel Poissonneau. He's congratulating the Audi team.
Well, the emotion is quite evident, and of course we know at the other end of the scale for Sam Hancock and the crew in 009, for all the Peugeot crews, for everybody whose car has let them down here and all their hopes and dreams have evaporated in a puff of smoke or a puncture or a broken component. It is really heartbreaking, but again, you know, the stories here of the winners and also the also-rans, and you know, those you sort of look right at the very final car, Paul Drayson and his team, they have refused to give in, and that's how Audi got to where they are. Exactly the same approach. Refuse to give in, refuse to let the odds get to you. All right, in the end, Drayson and his car got what they wanted. They got the car to the finish. Whether it's classified or not for them will be entirely immaterial. They beat the car and the race. And here, Audi have done exactly the same. They have managed to do what they do and refused to take no for an answer. And somehow, it's ended up with just the most magical result for the German team.
Daniel Poissonneau then, the race director of this race, no longer sporting director of the ACO, but he comes here every year to continue to run this race. It's his pride, his joy, and what a good job they've done this year. Despite the safety car problems, everything's really panned out, hasn't it?
Other than that, they've done a fantastic job. This has been a brilliant race. I'm just feeling quite emotional myself because I really do like all these guys at Audi. I've driven with virtually all of them, you know, throughout the years, and it's such a great finish for them, and they work so hard, and I do believe they deserve it. I feel very sad for Peugeot. I think it's been a horrible race for them, and nothing that should have come their way, but at the same time, this is a magical result for Audi, and a lot of hard work that's come to fruition.
You can see the tears as well of joy and relief, I'm sure, and I don't think you can be a racing fan without feeling both sides of it, without feeling so thrilled for the guys that win and so heartbroken for the guys that lose, because you can, whether you're a driver or a fan or a mechanic or none of the above, you can imagine yourself in both those positions, and it's very evident, the outpouring of emotion at the end of this race, and this race perhaps more than any other, just because everybody is so wrung out. Win, lose or draw, you've got nothing left at the end of this.
It's such a big build-up for Le Mans 24 Hours. You've got the whole week here and so much going on, and such a huge fan base. It's such a wind-up of emotion up to the top that, like you said, Martin, you're absolutely wrung out at the end, win, lose or draw, and There's just no other race in the world like it. I mean, I'm feeling a little bit like I'm struggling for words now. It's just awesome.
Motion creeps into the cabin. I have to say, not the most beautiful car that's ever won Le Mans, and there were hints early on that if it don't look right, it won't go right, but they've just completely disproved everything. So what? Yes.
Well, you know, who was it? I can't remember who said a few years ago, a winning car is always a beautiful car.
Exactly.
And you know what? Yeah, you know, you've got to give them a little bit of credit for that. It may have been a touch on the mutton chop side, but on the other hand, it did the job. Final moments of note comparing, and that's always interesting, isn't it? And then, and do you remember when, you know, immediately it starts, and especially with other drivers of other cars, of other classes, and so many of the thoughts will be shared in common, whether you've won or whether you've, you know, gone out after an hour. For Wolfgang Ulrich, yeah, this young team, what a moment, you know. Will they ever have a more dramatic race than this, you know, one that's come from nowhere and produce such a result?
I'm not sure if they will ever have a moment like this again. I think, I mean, even if they win again 1, 2, 3, I'm not sure if they will ever have the experience that they've had, where they truly didn't believe they could do it on pace alone. And I think somewhere deep down inside the hearts of all the Audi drivers, they knew they had a good car and they knew that they could bring it, but they did need something like this to happen to Peugeot. They knew they couldn't do it on speed alone. And I'm just remembering speaking to Timo Bernhard right before the start of the race, actually, and he was being very positive and very perky, but he just said, you know, the car isn't as fast and all we can do is our best. And I think it's quite cool to now see him about ready to stand up on the top bit of that podium, and they have done their best and it's been enough.
Well, out they come then, the Audi drivers that have won here. We said to Tom Christensen at the official reception when all the teams are welcome to Le Mans, are you comfortable with the car? He said, yes, of course. But we were comfortable with last year's car. And that question mark has hung in the air until right now, Jeremy Shaw. And now they come out not just with a podium, not just with 2 podiums, but with a clean sweep, something utterly unimaginable 4 days ago.
They've worked so hard on this program. I mean, this car, they came, as you just said, they came here last year thinking they were going to be in contention to win. They weren't. They came here on Wednesday for first qualifying, expecting to be in contention for the pole. They weren't. In fact, they were miles off on Wednesday. 4 seconds off the pace they were on Wednesday on a consistent basis. So, but what do? Do they hang their heads? Do they go home, or do they fight? They fight. Yeah, the engineers examined every little bit of data they've done. They've done a huge amount of preparation. They've done 24-hour tests. They've done the Le Mans Series races leading up to the Le Mans 24 hours. They've done everything they could possibly do. They all put their heads together, and they come back on Wednesday, and their car is significantly not only faster, but more comfortable and more consistent to drive. And that is what it takes to win the 24-hour race of Le Mans. A consistent, comfortable car.
It does, and also having consistent drivers that just keep putting in the times, do what they're told, follow team orders, and just constantly believe that they have a car that's good enough, and that they know that if they drove that car the way they were told they could, that it would keep running. And I think ultimately that's what's won the beast of Le Mans.
The German anthem rings out over the crowd here at Le Mans for our race winners. In the number 9 Audi, Mike Rockenfeller from Germany, Timo Bernhardt, his compatriot, and Frenchman Romain Dumas. And behind them, team boss Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, starting the tentative celebration, not the expected celebration, not the yes, we knew this was going to happen celebration, the where did that come from, almost disbelieving celebration. And no matter how hard they knew they could push their cars and how much they thought they had, was it ever going to be enough? I don't think it ever looked like it, but in the end, my word, it was a 1-2-3 result. Third place there with their trophies, Tom Christensen, Dindo Capello and Alan McNish. And the number of times these guys have stood on the podium is starting to really get into very serious record territory.
24.
Wow.
Yeah. 10 for Christensen, 8 for Capello, and 6 for McNish. Amazing.
In second place, Audi number 8, Andre Lotterer, Marcel Fessler and Benoit Chelouillet. Again, a French man in the car. So 2 of the 3 Audi lineups with a French driver. And the race winners, the number 9 car, Mike Rockenfeller, Timo Bernhardt and another Frenchman, Romain Dumas. And Audi's Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich receives the winning manufacturer's trophy. 24 hours ago, you could have bet him anything you liked that he'd be up there, and he'd have been a little bit reluctant to take your money.
I'm thrilled, particularly, I think, for Mike Rockenfeller. I mean, redemption for him, isn't it? He came here, he's won here, of course, in the GT2 class with Alex Job Racing back in 05, still on the top step of the podium then for GT. But 2 years ago, he was given this great opportunity to drive for the factory Audi team, and he blew it. He crashed at least down at Trouge, and he hung his head in shame for a while, personally, but everybody knew on that team how good that boy was, and they kept him. There he is.
There he is.
A smile. Great to see. And what a great win for him. He set fastest lap in a DTM race with a completely uncompetitive car a week ago, and he comes out with his magnificent victory here.
Fantastic effort from all concerned. And you also have to say fantastic effort from their main rivals, the Peugeot Sport team. They put their hearts, their souls, their everything into it, and they